squeeze it out of a bottle? Does it have to be, yeah, does it have to be in something? What is a condiment? I need more information. We need more information on condiments. Is jelly a condiment? Jelly and jam are usually viewed as condiments, but peanut butter is not. Salsa is considered a condiment, but guacamole is not. Here's what I'm thinking. Condiments either have to be something you sprinkle or like kind of more of a liquidy form. Not according to Wikipedia, which says a condiment is a supplemental food such as a sauce or powder. Ha! Sprinkle and liquid. That supports my theory. If it's more of a solid substance, it's not a condiment. If you can sprinkle it or pour it, it's a condiment. If you can chop it, it's not a condiment. Sprinkle and pour. All right. Are we ready to move on from the condiments? Maybe. Oh, no. Oh, God, you're making a lot of... It sounds like, you know what? I'm sorry. When you do that, it means you disagree. Like, icing. Icing is a condiment? So when I'm eating a cupcake, I'm eating cake with a condiment on top? Makes sense to me. Really? Jenna's doing it. I knew it! If you're ever in a conversation with Jenna, she goes, it means she is slightly judging you and disagrees. Well, Wikipedia says peanut butter is a condiment, so clearly, I don't know, clearly there's a debate. So Dwight has put a bunch of random condiments on the counter. He has. And I have nowhere to go from there. That's the end. Move on. He clearly isn't intending on doing anything with them. He's just doing busy work so he can set up Jim to fail. Next up, Michael and Aaron are going to arrive at the high school, and I have a little location breakdown for you. Fan question from Cyrus in Bloomfield, Michigan. Were the school scenes filmed at a local LA school? Yes, they were. We shot the interiors and exteriors at Van Nuys Middle School, which is a steam magnet school on Vesper Avenue in Van Nuys, California. We were there for 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, October 3rd and 4th. By the way, this is also where they shot the school location for the TV show Fresh Off the Boat. Well, I had a recurring guest star on Fresh Off the Boat. Do you know if you ever went to the school? I think we did one day because I was at a PTA meeting. I was like the mean lady. Shocker. Well, there's a lot of great little details at this school. Phil Shea outdid himself. I loved the plaque that said Michael Gary Scott Reading Room. Oh, and Aaron's like, you're famous. Yes. Michael has cold feet about seeing everyone, but Michaela greets them and insists they just want to give him a big thank you. I know. Michaela was played by Sheba Renee. She posted on Instagram that she still has her shirt from this episode. Oh, she got to keep her Scott's Todd shirt. Yeah, that's so cool. She was so good. And she is going to lead Michael into this classroom full of kids all wearing Scott's Tots shirts. I mean, huge applause. They're so excited he's there. We find out that they have prepared something for him, which is a song and dance routine. We had a fan question from Harmjan V in the Netherlands. The dance routine of the Tots is awesome. Where did you find these actors dancers? And Lisa from New Jersey asked who choreographed the dance routine. Well, Randy Cordray shared with us that the choreographer was Tony Gonzalez. And he had done choreography for Bring It On Again and Bring It On All or Nothing. You know, he's currently doing the choreography for The Masked Singer. And he cast the 8 specialty dancers. The dancers were Danielle E. Hawkins, Glenda Morales, David Easel, Katrina Norman, Chris Moss, Oscar Orozco, Jonathan Rice, and Quentin Burdett. We only had 2 days of rehearsals with the dancers. They set up a rehearsal space over on our warehouse stage. They were so good. They were so good. There's no way in a million years that I could learn anything like that in 2 days. No, it's just a gift. You just have it. You know, I danced growing up. There was a time when I could do that. That time is not now anymore. I tried during the pandemic to take up my tap dancing again. I got a little tap dance floor, and I was tapping. And I thought, I'm going to learn a tap routine
to Footloose.
Oh.
And
Like you gotta cut loose.
Yeah.
But, okay.
and I found like an instructional video on YouTube. And I was like, this is going to be great. It's going to be so fun. I mean, it was like 45 seconds long. Weeks I spent on this very beginner tap routine. I never posted it. I have like a gazillion videos of myself in my garage on my tap floor.
Can I please see one? Can I please put it in pod stories? Not to laugh at you. Not to laugh at
To
you.
laugh with me because I was not even laughing yet. So someone's laughing. Maybe.
Okay. Well, I thought the dancers did a fantastic job.
They did. We also had a fan question from Laura in Warren, Ohio, who said, who wrote the song, Hey, Mr. Scott?
Wesley Curry.
Well, Lee and Jean wrote the lyrics for the song, and Eve Nelson wrote the music. Eve is an Emmy-winning composer who did a lot of specialty work for us, such as composing the music for Subtle Sexuality, the webisode.
The one we listened to last week.
Yes, that Mindy sings. She also did all the music for Threat Level Midnight. I thought we should hear an audio clip of Hey, Mr. Scott.
Ooh.
Hey, Mr. Scott, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Make a dreams come true. Hey, Mr. Scott, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Make a dreams come true.
Came to a loss and made a promise that made us honest, made us realize we don't need to compromise because we can have it all. Because you made it possible for us to achieve the improbable. Hey,
Mr. Scott, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Make your dreams come true.
So good, Eve Nelson.
Eve coming through again. And I can't wait now to see Threat Level Midnight.
I know, and see all that music.
It's funny that you bring up the webisodes because just last week we were talking about it, but I also mentioned the bobbleheads last week that Joya Balfour, who worked for NBC.com, was going to bring all these bobbleheads to the set, right?
Yeah.
For me to feature in Adventures with Angela. Lady on set that day, she said, Angela, would you like all of these bobbleheads? Like you can have one of all the cast members since you're doing this for us. And I said, oh my God, I would. And she goes, okay, let me see, but I think I can get you a whole set of full cast member bobbleheads. And I was like, oh, that'll be so fun. Maybe I'll like line them like on a shelf in my house.
That is so cool. Do you have them?
Okay, so here's the thing. Years ago, she was like, Angela, I got the bobbleheads for you. When do you want them? And I was moving. And I was like, oh, I'm moving right now. Can we figure out? And Jenna, I don't know, life happened. Years went by. Joya reached out to me and said, Angela, I've had these bobbleheads for 15 years.
What? Like just recently she reached out.
She's like, they're in boxes. Can I bring them to you? I said, oh my gosh, Joya, yes. So we met for coffee and we caught up 15 years of life and marriage and kids. And Jenna, she opened up her trunk and it was full of bobbleheads. I took a picture of her standing by her trunk. I now have all of these bobbleheads.
That is so crazy because, you know, when we were going through all of our bins of stuff for the book, I found an Oscar bobblehead and a Jim bobblehead and a Pam bobblehead and a Dwight bobblehead. That's all I have.
I will tell you the bobblehead I didn't know I need, but I definitely needed was Phyllis.
Oh, is Phyllis's good?
Phyllis's is so great. Joya went on to tell me while we were having coffee, she said, you know, it's kind of crazy. I've had all these bobbleheads, but I also have something that I think a lot of people wanted, but I ended up getting. And I was like, do tell. Guess who has the original unicorn Barbie?
What?
Yes, and here's Joya sharing about it.
The story of how I acquired the Princess Unicorn Barbie doll is really fun. I, of course, was a digital producer for the show, working at NBC. And I had read the script for Moroccan Christmas, the episode that it appeared in. And I wanted to use it for our Dunder Mifflin Infinity virtual game. And I also wanted to build a website for Princess Unicorn because it seemed like this crazy funny thing that a little website would just be hilarious for. If you're a big fan of the show, you know that we did a ton of these little one-off websites all the time. So princessunicorndoll.com was one of them. And what's really interesting is that NBC let the domain expire some years ago, and someone bought it up and kept the exact same website there. So you can actually go see the website. And thank you to whoever bought that and kept the same website up. I appreciate appreciate you. So I wanted to use it for the game. It was a virtual item that you could purchase for your Dunder Mifflin office if you were playing the game, and it was a very rare item. So the props department actually gave the doll to me. They had 2 versions of the doll that they made, and they gave me one to photograph back at my office at NBC. So I did that, and for whatever reason, no one at the show asked me for the doll back. And the show ended, and everyone went on their separate ways. And I eventually left NBC, and this doll came with me, and it's been in my house as this kind of prized memento from the show. For almost 10 years, I've had this doll. It's the one memento from the show I don't think I will ever give up, because it's pretty amazing. So that is my Princess Unicorn story.
I cannot believe she has one of the original. There were only 2, and she has one of them. Well, now I know how to get original props. You have to be like, you know what? I'd love to build a website, but I'm going to need that to photograph it. And then I'm going to just wait for you to ask for it back. And if you don't, you don't. That is amazing. Amazing. It was so good to see Joya. And Joya, thank you so much for the bobbleheads. I'll have to display them and show you guys.
Well, on that note, let's take a break. And when we come back, we'll check in on Dwight. We'll see what he's up to. And then,
well, boy, Michael has a big announcement to make.
He does.
Election day is March 5th, which is Super Tuesday in the presidential election.
Dwight is now going around collecting money. He starts with Kevin, $20 to chip in for Employee of the Month per Jim's request. Oscar contributes as well. He doesn't need Dwight's speech. During this whole moment, guess who's playing solitaire?
I saw it once again, actively moving cards on a resale game.
Kate Flannery in the background is Meredith, playing a very quick game of solitaire.
Listen, Dwight's plan is 5 minutes ahead of schedule.
Right on schedule. It's working.
Back at the school, a teacher is up at the front of the room, and she is profusely thanking Michael for following through on his promise to send these kids to school.
Yeah.
And then a student gets up and says, basically, you're my guardian angel. Michael is crying. Oh boy. It's just Michael.
The way they wrote the scene to build is so great, because with each thing, you're getting just a kick to the stomach, and then it ends with Michael.
The woman who's giving this thank you speech was played by Monet McKell. I hope I'm saying your name right. She's amazing. She began her career as a musical theater actress. She has been nominated for an NAACP Theater Award, and she performed in an award-winning one-woman show. She's also had recurring roles on The Good Place and The Defenders, as well as a ton of other film and television roles.
Well, she set the bar for this scene because it's so heartfelt, her appreciation, as you would be, because you're sending these kids to college. Like, the level of accountability that this scene starts with is like, oh crap, Michael, oh Michael.
Well, it's Michael's turn to speak. This is the moment.
Yeah.
The crowd is cheering.
Michael says he'll never forget today.
Oh, and then he asks the kids for a show of hands. He wants to know, how many of you have ever made a stupid mistake?
He's trying to get them on his side before giving them this terrible news.
I kind of thought we needed to hear it.
Oh no, really?
I don't know.
Oh God. All right. Now, in this moment, I'm a Pam. Okay, let's hear it.
I came here today because I promised you tuition, and tuition is very valuable. But you know what's invaluable? Is intuition. You know what that is? That is the ability to know when something is about to happen. Does anybody out there have intuition? Know what's going to happen next? Nobody? Okay. You're going to make me say it. All right. I am so proud of all of you. Derek and LaFerve and Ben and Ayana and Michaela and Nikki and Jason and I'm sorry, okay, sorry, spacing your name.
I'm Zion. I'm Michaela's younger brother.
Well, Zion, I am not going to be paying for your tuition. Which brings me to my main point, and that is that I will not be able to pay for anybody's tuition. I'm so sorry.
Listen,
I'm sorry for all the people out there who skip Scott's tots. I just played the worst part for you. You know, the cringiest part.
I watched this episode 3 times. That's usually how many times I watch an episode as we prep each week for the podcast. And I might need a break from it now.
He goes on to try to be a hero. We talked about this with BJ. He has Aaron wheel in this humongous suitcase, which you think are going to be filled with laptops.
Which is some saving grace, a laptop, not college tuition, but a laptop. But no,
It's just the lithium batteries for a laptop. Guys, those are fakey batteries. At 14 minutes, 46 seconds, the graphics for the laptop battery boxes were created by our graphic designer, Henry Sane, and packaged up by Phil Shea. Fakey batteries.
fakey battery.
Well, back at the office, Jim's about to have his own cringe moment.
I loved how they edited these scenes because you go from Michael being in hot water to Jim being in hot water.
Yes, Jim is going to announce the employee of the month. According to this data, it's employee number 9. Who is employee number 9?
It's Jim.
Oh boy.
People are instantly furious. They don't even take a beat to be like, oh, maybe there was an error. No, they're instantly like, you.
Yes, Jim won $1,000.
Yeah, and got his own parking spot.
Oh my gosh. He's like, no, this is obviously a mistake. Who's second on the list? We need the second person on the list. Uh-oh.
It's Jim's wife, Pam.
Oh boy. How is that even possible? But Pam is going to defend herself as the winner.
Yeah, she's like, no, wait, come on. I didn't miss a day. I came in early. I stayed late, and I doubled my sales last month. Andy goes, oh, really? From what, 2 to 4?
Yup.
That is one of your most famous memes.
I have texted it to people. I texted my own meme to people. The yup.
I have texted an Angela eye roll to people. My own meme. I see that yup everywhere, Jenna.
I know.
And it's so perfect. It made me laugh. Even though I know it, it still made me laugh.
It made me laugh while I was doing it. You'd be surprised how difficult it was to get just one word without me breaking.
Yup.
Well, it's going to get even worse. You think it can't get worse for Jim, but now there's going to be a cake delivered with his face on it.
This was a real cake, you guys. We actually ate this cake.
We did.
I had a slice of it. It was delicious. It was a real distorted angle of John's face.
It was a little bit.
It was like when someone takes a photo of you and they go like chin up. I actually had my camera on set that day and I took a picture of the cake. I'll put it in stories.
The cake delivery man was played by Charlie Sanders, who is a writer, actor, and co-producer of Key and Peele, for which he was nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Writing 3 years in a row.
I love Key and Peele.
Me too.
Oh my God, it cracks me up.
We hung out with Key and Peele.
We did. We were on a private plane with them.
The only time I've ever been on a private plane.
Well, same. Yes, Caesar Palace flew Jenna and Keegan and Jordan to play in this poker tournament. You took me as a +1. They flew us to New Orleans. We got on this private plane with these guys, and we played euchre the whole plane ride. I love euchre. We couldn't believe other people knew euchre. It's a card game. We love them. They're so fun. The cake is not the last thing on Dwight's list of diabolical plans.
No, he riles everybody up, but it only works if people complain to David Wallace.
So Dwight starts calling David Wallace's office, pretending to be everyone else.
It's so good. I thought we needed to hear it. He is going to leave messages as Kevin, as Stanley, and as Toby. I think my favorite part is like his body language changes as he's doing all the voice. He's like spinning his hair with his fingertip when he's being Toby.
Yeah.
He's like all slumped on the ground. But here it is. You have to hear it.
This is Kevin. Is David here? Tell him I'm mad at Jim because he's asking us to give money to pay him.
Mrs. Stanley Hudson, Jim Halpern is a man-ass.
It's totally fine to say. Listen, things are getting really bad down in here.
Those are so funny to me. But Jenna, there was one more.
There was?
Yes. It didn't make it in the final cut, but it's in deleted scenes. It's a little R-rated, so maybe that's why it didn't make it. Here is Dwight calling, pretending to be Meredith.
It's Meredith Palmer. Listen, kid, I'm gonna be drunk as a skunk. You don't know what to tell me about crotch injuries. But Jim Halpert is a prick.
Oh my gosh, I know. So imagine David Wallace getting all of these messages.
Yeah, Jim is definitely going to be hearing from David Wallace later. But back at the school, Michael and Aaron are leaving. They are disgraced. But as they're leaving, one of the students runs out and just kind of confronts Michael. He's like, dude,
Yeah.
this is like really messed up. And Michael just apologizes again and he says, you know what? I'll pay for your books.
It's the least I can do.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, well, books are like $1,000. I mean, that's a lot.
And Michael's like, that's like, oh, $200 a year.
And the kid's like, it's $1,000 a year.
So Michael writes a few checks for $1,000. He says, please notify me before you cash these. I have to move some money around.
Yes, and he has to hold them for like a couple of years, each one per year. Well, listen, the actor who played the student is so good. His name is Kwame Boateng. He is part of a trio, an acting trio. His brothers, they're referred to as the K brothers. He's amazing. He did a bunch of films and television, but now he is actually the CEO of his own company called the Boateng Group.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's kind of moving and shaking in the business world now. And we also had a fan catch in this scene from Matthew in Franklin, Indiana. At 16 minutes, 48 seconds, you can see snow outside the school.
Oh, yeah, fakey snow.
Well, that fakey snow was provided by our special effects technician, Mike Thompson. According to Randy Cordray, it was actually a warm and sunny day in Van Nuys, about 75 degrees. But we threw down some fakey snow.
Back in Jim's office, he does get a very frustrated call from David Wallace. I think we need to point out at 18 minutes, 7 seconds, the Phoebe Snow is back. It is? The train painting is in Jim's office. The Phoebe Snow is back.
That is so weird that it was missing for one episode.
I don't know. Or maybe it's just the way they angled the camera. Maybe you just couldn't see it and I thought it was missing.
Well, it's back. And did it make your heart happy?
It really did.
You know, lady, if you love trains, you should play this board game called Ticket to Ride.
I love Ticket to Ride. I know Ticket to Ride.
Oh, we just discovered Ticket to Ride. Our friends sent it to us, and now my kids are obsessed.
Yeah.
You've known about Ticket to Ride all this time? I was going to gift it to you. I'm glad you told me you have it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We love games at my house. You know, we're big family game night
Well,
folks.
this was combining two of your loves, trains and a game.
We also really love the Oregon Trail, old school board game version, not the computer version we grew up on.
Now, according to your deep dive last week, would a covered wagon be considered a limousine? Because the
Separation of the
driver
driver
is
and
separated from the
cargo.
Mhm.
I think a completely covered wagon would be, yes.
What part of the covered wagon is uncovered?
Sometimes they have a front flap that they keep open.
But I mean, same in a limousine, the little zhuzhy thing goes down and up.
No, I agree. I am agreeing. This is me agreeing with you. I think a completely covered wagon with the driver outside would constitute as a limousine.
Wow.
Limousine.
Tell like the early pioneers that they were actually taking limousines
Wow.
to the gold rush.
Mhm.
They might be surprised.
Back to this phone call between Jim and David. Dwight kind of overhears that it's not going well, right? Jim's like,
He's all excited.
He's so excited. Jim's like, I don't know how it happened. Dwight's like, I know how it happened. Dwight goes back in there, doing his little mom detective, drops a folder, grabs his spy pen that's been in there the whole time.
As it turns out, this phone call that starts out angry ends amicably.
David apologizes. He's like, look, I'm taking out some stuff on you, okay? Hey, am I going to see you at dinner? And Dwight's like, no!
I know, he forgot. Jim and David Wallace are chums.
They're pals.
The final scene with Michael and Aaron, they're driving back. Aaron can't stop singing the song.
Yeah.
But then she says, you know, Michael, the principal told me that 90% of Scott's tots are on track to graduate, which is 35% higher than the rest of the school. So, you know, you did do a good thing here.
This warms Michael's heart. He hasn't always been that nice to Erin. He's kind of abrupt with her. She's not Pam, which he lets her know routinely. And he says to her, you know what? You're doing great. And he wants to know, what does she hope for?
Yeah, what would she like for her future?
She says she would like to be an accountant, even though she's terrible at math. I will tell you, this is a great nod to the webisode series, The Mentor, where Erin tells the accounting department she wants to be an accountant.
We talked about it last week, and I totally clocked it when she said that.
We also learned something about Kevin's story in this moment, which is he was applying for a job in the warehouse. And Michael said, you know what, I have a feeling about you.
I think you should be an accountant. Ah. Well, this episode ends with a tag. All of a sudden, Ryan appears in this episode, and he finds Dwight's diabolical plan.
Yeah, Dwight left it in the copier.
He wants in. He wants to take Jim down. That's how this episode ends. Well, I had a couple little tidbits that I thought I would share. I didn't know where to put these, so I'm putting them here at the end. The first was a piece of mail we got from Julia S. in Madison, Wisconsin. This is cringy. She said, I work at a nonprofit company, and we had a program that ended up being a Scott's Tots reincarnate.
Oh, no.
She said the goal of the program was to encourage parents of elementary school kids to begin putting away a small amount of money every month that would go toward their kids' college tuitions. She said, my company promised that if they did that, the company would give a huge scholarship to each child when they began college. But after a couple of years, the company decided it was too big of a promise to pay scholarships to all the kids, and the program had to send out an email to let everyone know that the scholarships weren't going to happen.
Oh my gosh.
She said, me and my colleagues now cringe every time someone mentions this failed program, and when we talk about it, we call it Scott's Tots. But I can't leave us on that note, so I wanted to leave you with this real-life story called Dale's Kids.
I want to hear about Dale's kids.
Dale Schroeder was described in his local paper as a simple man who grew up poor, never went to college, never got married, and worked at the same business as a carpenter for 67 years. They said he had a pair of work jeans, a pair of church jeans, and a Chevy truck. When he passed away in 2005, he did not have any descendants, but after nearly 70 years of carpentry and frugal living, he had saved nearly $3 million. Most of that money went into a scholarship fund, which helped 33 people go to college free of charge. The kids who benefited from this scholarship all gathered recently to talk about the impact that the scholarship had on their lives. They are now doctors, teachers, a therapist. They said that the money came with only one caveat. Their request was, please pay this forward.
Aww.
You can't pay Dale back, but you can remember him and emulate him. And that is the legacy of Dale Schroeder, and they affectionately call themselves Dale's Kids.
Oh, that is so lovely. Oh, Jenna, that is wonderful. Well, I had a quote to end this episode on, and now I feel bad saying it because that's such a nice sentiment to end on.
Well, I still want to hear your quote, lady.
All right. This is from cheatsheet.com.
All right, we're taking a pivot here, folks.
This is about this episode, and I quote, if you're the kind of person who would like watching a taxidermist, or perhaps would enjoy watching someone removing a splinter from the hand of a small child, then this episode is for you.
Well, that's perfect.
That is Scott's Tots. Of course, we owe a huge thank you to BJ Novak for being on the show today.
And thank you to Gene Stupnitsky, Lee Eisenberg, Paul Lieberstein, and Randy Cordray, and all also to James Carey, who helped me go through some digital clutter.
Yes, and Joya Balfour for meeting me for coffee and bringing a trunk full of bobbleheads to me, and always sharing with us about what NBC.com was doing.
And thank you all for sending in your questions. We love you. We'll see you next week.
Love you guys.
Thank you for listening to Office Ladies. Office Ladies is produced by Earwolf, Jenna Fisher, and Angela Kinsey. Our show is executive produced by Cody Fisher. Our producer is Cassie Jerkins, our sound engineer is Sam Kiefer, and our associate producer is Ainsley Bubico.
Our theme song is Rubber Tree by Creed Bratton. For ad-free versions of Office Ladies, go to StitcherPremium.com. For a free 1-month trial of Stitcher Premium, use code OFFICE.
This has to be because she blocked me. Hey, yeah, like, blah. Nobody else has said anything.
Most people give up on their resolutions by mid-January. Walmart Plus can help save yours this year by saving you time and money. Walmart Plus is the membership with benefits like gas discounts, video streaming, plus so much more. Is your resolution to simplify your life? With free delivery, Walmart Plus makes ordering what you need online a no-brainer. Join now. New members get $50 in Walmart cash to get what they need to help save their resolution. Terms apply. See walmart.com/plus for details.
Did you know that the bold, smooth taste of Dunkin' cold coffee can be brewed in your Keurig coffee maker and enjoyed at home?
You heard that right. Dunkin's cold K-Cup pods were crafted to be brewed hot and enjoyed cold.
Each Dunkin' cold K-Cup pod is packed with the smooth, bold Dunkin' flavor you crave.
Pick up a pack of Dunkin's cold K-Cup pods and enjoy a Dunkin' cold coffee at home whenever you crave it.
Just brew over ice and sip in seconds, because the home with Dunkin' is where you want to be.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a great day. All right.
I'm Jenna Fisher.
And I'm Angela Kinsey.
We were on The Office together.
And we're best friends.
And now we're doing the Ultimate Office Rewatch podcast just for you.
Each week, we will break down an episode of The Office and give exclusive behind-the-scenes stories that only 2 people who were there can tell you.
We're the Office Ladies.
Hello, Angela. Hi, Jenna.
You're fighting with a staple right now.
I was hoping to have it done before the music stopped.
No, you're still working on it.
Guys, I did this thing where I printed my document. You know, Jenna and I both do documents now, guys. I've moved on from note cards.
I know. I don't know how I feel about it.
I still have some Post-it notes, okay?
Okay, good.
Still happen. And I color code everything, as you know. My document is all kinds of different colors. But this morning when I was printing it, I by accident printed the font to like size 40.
It's so many pages.
It's so many pages. It's like a phone book.
And the staple would not staple at all.
It wouldn't. It was poking me. Hi, guys. Welcome to Office Ladies.
Today we're talking about Secret Santa, but today in real life, it's St. Patrick's Day.
It is.
So we're kind of doing a holiday on a holiday. I'd like to say something before we get started. We have been together in the studio for 15 minutes so far this morning, and no one has mentioned my cute, sassy new haircut.
I noticed it right away when I was complaining about my printer issues.
I know, but no one has complimented my hair.
Very nice. I apologize.
And I need the compliments. I'm fishing for the compliments.
I thought you looked like a runway model when I saw you this morning. I said, who is that lady? She looks like $1 million bucks.
And
oh my God, it's my boss lady friend, Jenna Fisher.
Thank you.
And you know what's setting it all off?
What?
Sassy haircut.
Good. It starts with
Flow on the 10 in Santa Monica.
Not going anywhere too quickly there on the 10 freeway eastbound from Cloverfield all the way out to San Pedro Street. That's from downtown Santa Monica to downtown Los Angeles. It's going to take you a while to get through there. Let's check in with Michael Bryan. Say good afternoon to him. KFI in the sky, looking at Grand Terrace.
Yeah, we got a big mess out this way, Will. That's 215 southbound at Barton Road. They're clearing for the left lanes and the right lane, so they're kind of just squeezing by in the middle there. And very heavy now. Back before the 10 to about Orange Show Road out of San Bernardino. Now the northbound 215, they're looking and losing right out of Riverside Interchange. If you're heading into Riverside on the 91,
Boss Lady friend, Jenna Fisher.
Thank you.
And you know what's setting it all off?
What?
Sassy haircut.
Good.
It starts with the sassy haircut, and then it goes all the way down. You have a whole outfit. She has a little green stripy shirt, a cardigan, cute accessories.
I cannot tell if this is genuine or if this is sarcasm. Sam, where do you stand on this?
I think it's how I labeled it before. I think it's genuine and hostile. It can be both.
They said
Angela's in a mood today.
They said I came in hot this morning, y'all. I came in hot.
Angela walked in, looked at the video camera so Cassie can see it, and said no, and tore it out of the wall instead of just asking to move it.
They have this camera, guys, so we can be on Zoom with Cassie. And it literally, I don't know what evil person set it up today, but it was a shot under my neck and up my nose. And
It was not good.
It wasn't.
I'm gonna back you up on that.
You know what? A woman who's just recently turned 50 doesn't need an under the neck shot.
You know what it looked like? You know when you go on Instagram and you haven't angled the camera right yet, but it's on selfie mode, and it's that horrifying moment where you see yourself from like under the neck.
Yes.
That's how the Zoom camera was.
So yeah, Sam, I ripped it out of the wall.
Angela, can I ask you a St. Patty's Day question?
Oh,
Will you
please.
be getting tooted today?
That got my husband so tickled because my husband Josh listens to the podcast, and I saw him when we all posted. He was like, "Are we getting tooted, babe?"
All right, well, let's get into it.
Okay.
This is season 6, episode 13, written by Mindy Kaling, directed by Randall Einhorn. This episode features a song from Green Day, and y'all know I'm friends with Billie Joe Armstrong, lead singer of Green Day.
Jenna is blushing as she's saying this. She's blushing.
I am such a fan of my own friend. It's true. I reached out and he agreed to read the summary. So here it is.
Hello, Office Ladies listeners. This is Billie Joe Armstrong. Here's your summary for Secret Santa. It's Christmas time in Dunder Mifflin. Jim and Dwight are in charge of this year's Christmas party, and they are doing a pretty good job. Jim tells Phyllis she can play Santa, something she's wanted to do for years. This naturally causes Michael to spiral. Meanwhile, Oscar has a crush on a new warehouse worker, and Pam plays matchmaker. Andy has Aaron in the Secret Santa gift exchange, but so far it's not going well. She's mostly just been attacked by birds. There is some potentially devastating news from corporate hanging over everyone's heads. But in the end, it's a great party with karaoke, a marching band, and even a little snow. I'll walk a lonely road. We all walk a lonely road.
I mean, come on.
Come on.
He's the best.
Come on. When he sang at the end, I was like, wow.
We're all grinning.
Oh,
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you
so much, Billie Joe.
Thank you, Billie Joe.
All right, fast fact number 1. This episode aired on December 10th, 2009. But shortly afterward, there was an extended cut that was released, and it included 9 extra minutes of footage, which brought the total length of the episode up to 29 minutes and 43 seconds.
Oh, I have so much to share about this.
I know you do.
Okay, so there are no deleted scenes. If you have the DVD box set, there are no deleted scenes for Secret Santa, and it is because of this extended producer's cut. I guess there were so many great scenes, they decided to make like our version back then of a supersize, right?
Yeah.
So I reached out to Joya Balfour. You guys, I've spoken about her before. She worked for NBC Digital. And I was like, Joya, what did you know about this extended producer's cut? And she said, Angela, it was made for NBC.com.
Oh,
yes. And it was actually the first producer's cut episode that they ran exclusively on NBC.com.
Wow.
That's right. A few more will come as we go through the seasons, but this is the full list of extended producer's cuts that ran on NBC.com. Pretty quickly right after the episode aired, you could go to NBC.com and there they were. Secret Santa, Training Day, Search Committee, Angry Andy, and Fundraiser.
Wow.
And it was the first time we had ever done that. Of course, now all networks have websites and have episodes up there, but this was the first time it was ever done for NBC, for our show.
I want to say, I feel like the folks at NBC.com were kind of trailblazers here.
Yeah.
Like they were creating really cool extra content, original content, kind of before everyone else was doing it. At least that's my perception.
That's what I think too. The webisodes, putting extended episodes online, having digital shorts like my Adventures with Angela.
Yes.
So I went digging in my digital clutter and I found an email that Joya and I had back and forth during this episode where she was coming to set to film me for this segment I would do for NBC.com called Adventures with Angela. And I was going to give a holiday behind the scenes tour of the set. Well, Joya couldn't find the video, but guess what she shared with me? She said, Angela, I have found someone at NBC that I knew back in the day when she worked there. They told me that all of my videos, my Adventures with Angela segments, were moved to the archive room and they're on a special server, but her friend there is going to try to get me all of them. I know. I would be so excited to have them.
I remember you doing this one for Secret Santa because I remember you giving a tour of all the decorations.
Yeah.
And it was really cute.
I remember doing these segments. They were so much fun. And Joya said that there's some more fun digital content coming up. NBC.com was really starting to get in a groove. And she said for season 7, she's going to have a lot of little nuggets for us.
Oh, that is very exciting.
Quick shout out, you guys, to Dunderpedia, because they list all of these extra scenes.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
And I'm going to mention a few of them, but there's so many. There's so many. So if you go to Dunderpedia, or if you have the DVD box set, you can watch this extended producer's cut.
Fast fact number 2 is a Secret Santa deep dive.
Ooh, I'm so excited.
I was a lady who Googled 4 different articles from Bustle, Wikipedia, USA Today, and Grunge.
What did they say?
Well, since, you know, the Secret Santa gift exchange is such a big part of this episode, I wanted to know more. And I found out that lots of places have a tradition of exchanging or giving gifts in this Secret Santa tradition, but they have different names. I love different names.
Me too. I love to see how people celebrate things differently, like around the world.
Me too. Well, in the UK, it's called Kris Kringle. In Ireland, it's called Kris Kindle, which is an adaptation of Christ Kindle, which means Christ child.
It's not Secret Santa there. It'd be Secret Kris Kringle.
Yeah, but I don't even think you say the secret part. I think you just say, let's do a Kris Kindle gift exchange.
Oh, okay.
In Germany, it's called Wichteln, which means goblin or elf. Now, some people believe that the whole thing originated in Scandinavia, where it's called jukla, and involves basically leaving a gift at someone's door, knocking, and then running away. But in all of these traditions, there's one thing that remains constant, which is that you have to give somebody a gift in secret, either out of the goodness of your heart or through an organized gift exchange where you like draw names, as in our episode. But ultimately, you are not supposed to reveal your identity. So many of these articles pointed to a philanthropist from Lee Summit, Missouri named
Added you
Larry
X.
Dean Stewart.
I don't know much of it, but
as, quote,
check you out.
the
Added you
original
X.
Secret Santa, like in America.
Thanks, baby.
Oh, okay.
Who the name Secret Santa might come from. So the tradition of giving out secret gifts has been going on forever, but this name, Secret Santa, was sort of originally given to this man.
Oh, I want to hear all about
How
it.
did you come at?
He gave out anonymous gifts during the holidays for more than 25 years. He would walk around wearing sometimes a red sweater. I saw one photo of him in like
That's
white
big time, yo.
overalls with a red sweater and a little red hat. And he would give people $100 bills just randomly. After 9/11, he donated over $25,000 in the form of $100 bills to New Yorkers. He was so famous for handing out this money that he was profiled in USA Today one year, but they kept it anonymous. They didn't say who he was. But his identity was finally revealed in 2006 after he was diagnosed with cancer. It was a pretty aggressive form of cancer, and what I read in an article was that someone knew who he was and they were going to reveal him, so he decided to come out and say who he was. But according to this article in USA Today, he was quoted as saying he
has no strict criteria for who gets the money. He sometimes worked with local service agencies, or he had police officers or firefighters help him identify people who had been devastated by a fire or some other calamity. And he sometimes gave those people $1,000 or more. But he said most of the money he gave away was handed out to people that he met on the street, in diners, in laundromats, pawn shops, and fast food places. In the article, it also explained how he grew up really struggling and rather poor. And one day he was so hungry that he went to a diner and he ordered a big meal and he couldn't pay for it. And so he pretended like he lost his wallet. And the server came over to him and said, "Oh, sir, I think you dropped this." And it was a $20 bill.
Aw, just protected his dignity in that moment.
Right.
Yeah.
And he walked out of the diner. It didn't occur to him what this person had done for him until after he got outside. And then when he made a lot of money, he wanted to go around and give that back. And he actually went back and he found that guy who had given him the $20.
The waiter?
Yes, and then gave him a bunch of money. And the guy was like, "No, you don't have to do that." And he said, "Well, you started it all." So it is estimated that in his lifetime, he gave away $1.3 million.
I've given away.
Wow. And there's your original Secret Santa. All right, so fast fact number 3, we found some kittens
Who's the original
the week
Secret
we were
Santa?
shooting this episode.
This is like one of those things, guys. It's like, is art imitating life or life imitating art? Because here I had made up the story of finding sprinkles in the parking lot, and then years later we found kittens in the parking lot.
Yeah, this was the last episode before our big hiatus. Our costume designer, Alicia, and our property manager, Tom Melby, found 2 kittens under the costume trailer. Little bitty kittens.
They were so cute.
And Alicia brought them in, and I went in for a wardrobe fitting, and I saw them. Well, at this time, I was working with Kitten Rescue. And so I ended up taking these kittens home.
Jenna fostered them. Tell them their names.
Dunder and Mifflin.
Dunder
Dunder was a little black and white tuxedo cat, and Mifflin was an all-black cat. But, you know, Mifflin was struggling a little bit.
Well,
I mean,
how about
these
the
were
West Side?
barely weaned kittens, and Dunder could eat on his own, but Mifflin couldn't.
Could the West
So I
Side?
gave Mifflin to a volunteer at Kitten Rescue who had experience bottle feeding babies. And eventually, they were both adopted together, these little brothers, by this young woman named Carrie. And I'm still in touch with her. She still sends me pictures of these guys. It's the sweetest thing. So I reached out to find out how they're doing. She said they are now 12 years old.
Wow.
She said that Dunder, who used to be kind of the more rascally outgoing one, has become a little crankier in his old age. He kind of hides when people come over now. Whereas Mifflin, who was always kind of the shy one, loves to get pets from anybody who visits. So, you know, Carrie also ended up being a foster parent for kittens at Kitten Rescue. And she told me that Dunder and Mifflin have helped to foster uncle, or as she calls it, funkled, over 80 kittens in the past 12 years.
Wow.
And that they're very, very good with all the little kittens that she fosters. It's funny because when I was working with Kitten Rescue, I think I gave an interview where I said that I had fostered and found homes for over 13 cats. And that got printed as I had 13 cats. And it took me years to get that corrected. It was on like Wikipedia forever. And every time I would do an interview, someone would say, "Tell me about your 13 cats." And I would be like, "Can we please?"
I fostered 13 cats.
And not at the same time, like one by one.
Right, over years.
Well, incidentally, Kitten Rescue is where I adopted Sunny, and I'm going to link to them in our show notes. They're such a great organization, and I also have some really fun photos of Dunder and Mifflin from when they were kittens, as well as now, and we'll put it in our Instagram stories.
Oh, I can't wait. You guys, as Jenna was sharing the story, I just was remembering all these memories, and when we would walk onto set, there were these side doors that we would come onto the set of the Dunder Mifflin bullpen from our trailers. We had a wall of like announcements. Like if someone had a baby, we'd put the photo up there, or you know, just any little thing. I remember like when you were in a poker tournament, like we put a little thing up there. Just anything that was going on
moment in our lives, cast and crew. And then you would walk by and you would read and you'd be like, oh my gosh, Patrick, you know, you're getting married. That's so great. There'd be little announcements. Well, there was a photo of Dunder and Mifflin. We had printed off a little flyer. Yeah, a little flyer that hung there. And we would walk past it every day. And we left it up even after they were adopted, just like their photo. Oh, I love that. I want to see what they look like now.
I know. They're so cute. Well, that's all I've got. Should we take a break and then come back?
Yeah, let's get into this episode. There's so much fun stuff to discuss.
Whether your resolution is to save money, eat better, or stress less, HelloFresh is here to help you do all three.
Yes, you guys, I love HelloFresh. Jen and I both love it. You know why we love it. And guess what I made the other night? What? It was so delicious. I made their pub-style shepherd's pie.
I've made it.
Yes, it's so good. White cheddar and the thyme mashed potatoes.
I know it very well. It's a family favorite.
Well, you know, Josh normally makes dinner, so this was my turn, and I made this, and he loved it. And I was so happy. I was like, I made a shepherd's pie. I'd never made one before.
It's so good. Everyone, you can say hello to your most delicious year yet with fresh ingredients, chef-crafted recipes, all at a price you'll like, delivered right to your door. Go to HelloFresh.com/OfficeLadiesFree and use code OfficeLadiesFree for free breakfast for life.
One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/OfficeLadiesFree with code OfficeLadiesFree.
HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp.
You know, around New Year's, we all reflect, and people really start making lists of what they can do to be their best self for the next year.
Yes, I think, you know, the new year definitely makes you think New Year's resolution. What do I want to change?
New year, new me, that kind of thing.
Yes, but perhaps this year we could be reflecting on what we're already doing right.
Yeah.
And therapy can help you figure out your strengths so that you can ditch this idea that you need some extreme change or this extreme New Year's resolution and just, you know, you can make changes that really stick because they're based on your strengths.
I like that.
If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try.
It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule.
Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
Celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit BetterHelp.com/OfficeLadies today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/OfficeLadies. Let's talk a little bit about hydration in the new year, particularly about liquid IV. Angela, you turned me on to this, and I'm going to have to give you props.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. It's pretty great. You told me that you use this when you travel to stay better hydrated, and I started doing the same thing.
You know, whenever we go on a road trip, it's like I don't want to drink too much water because then I'll have to pee. And then I find myself so dehydrated, so I use this.
Well, I like it for hikes. Here's what it is. You get a little packet and you put it in your water, and then you are going to get 3 times the electrolytes of a leading sports drink plus 8 vitamins and nutrients.
It's non-GMO and free from gluten, dairy, and soy. It is perfect for daily use before a workout or when you feel run down or after a long night out,
hint, hint,
hint, or even on really long flights.
Rehydrate yourself for the new year. Grab your Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier sugar-free in bulk nationwide at Costco, or get 20% off your first order when you go to liquidiv.com and use code OfficeLadies at checkout.
That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code OfficeLadies at liquidiv.com.
This episode kicks off with a very exuberant Merry Christmas from Dwight and Jim, who, if you remember, are now the heads of the party planning committee.
Yeah, they're still in charge of the parties.
I have to say, they do a good job this year. This is a great Christmas party. The decor is great. They have some great ideas.
Well, I have a reason for that I'm going to share with you that was in deleted scenes.
We're going to fight?
Well, next up, Dwight has
I was going to fight you like a dog. Seen another dog. He left.
Share something.
Fuck you.
So, when I was talking to Joya about this episode, She said, "Oh, Angela, I meant to reach out to you about Scott's Tots because we launched a diabolical vlog to coincide with Dwight's diabolical plan."
Oh my God.
What?
Are you on
Yes,
Twitter?
it was a weekly vlog about Dwight's diabolical plan. You can still see the blog entries. I'm going to put a link to them in our stories. I'm showing Jenna a picture of what the front page looks like. Oh, it's the coup de Dwight, the diabolical blog by Dwight P. Schrute. So I'll put that in our stories, but I thought that was so fun. After this Dwight talking head, Jenna, there was a Jim talking head that got deleted. It's in the extended producer's cut, but I want to read to you a little bit of it from the shooting draft. Okay. It was actually really sweet. Jim says, "Lately there have been serious rumors that our company might go bankrupt. David Wallace asked me to keep morale high. Then there's B-roll. And the B-roll captures people taking turns going into Jim's office while Jim actually listens and jots down notes. Angela goes in, Kevin, Kelly, Stanley. Jim's talking head continues. I asked around what people wanted with Christmas. Get creative, I said. And people weren't really creative exactly. They said Secret Santa, karaoke, food, pretty much what we usually have, which is great. Then there's B-roll of Jim and Dwight dusting off old decorations. Jim continues to talk. People usually argue about food, so I told everyone to bring their favorites. Then there's B-roll, Angela laying out carrots and celery. Kevin with an enormous chocolate cake. Pam brings in a lasagna. And finally, Creed emptying a large can of beans into a glass serving bowl. Jim continues. I made a very organized sign-up sheet for karaoke so there's no fighting. B-roll of Jim holding up a clipboard next to the karaoke machine with a "must take turns" written on it in red letters. Kelly, Andy, and Kevin crowd around to sign up. Jim continues talking. And no crying. Jim hangs up a banner in the conference room. It says, "Merry Christmas, Santa hates tears." And then lastly, Jim says, I made Phyllis Santa, fulfilling a lifelong dream. Phyllis hugs Jim and will not let go. Jim tries to celebrate free. And then Jim ends this talking head with this. I'm doing a good job, I think. Because this year I care. I know, it's weird. He shrugs, happy. That is so sweet. I know, it was a great talking head, and it really showed how Jim was invested in making this a good party.
This is good management. This just reminds me of how Greg Daniels would treat us. He would come around and he would say, "What do you think should happen to your character this year?" Yes. And you'd be like, "I have ideas. Thank you for asking." So now Erin is going to make an announcement to the world. She is pleading with whoever is her Secret Santa to please stop sending gifts. Her Secret Santa is doing a 12 Days of Christmas themed gift for her. And she says that her cat killed the turtle dove. The French hens are making a nest in her hair. She has scratches down her face. Gift. Oh my gosh, she seems really miserable. Well, I wanted to share with you guys that this episode is Ellie Kemper, Mindy Kaling, and Claire Scanlon. Oh, great. Yeah. And they talked a little bit about the scratch on Ellie's face. Mindy shared that they had a tested model that they did a few different types of scratches on and took pictures of, and then Mindy had to pick which scratch she liked. Yeah. Randy said our makeup artist Laverne created the effects of the scratch, and I guess Randall and Paul both were really pleased with the first try, and that's the one they picked. And he said Laverne's team was masterful at executing this gag. Well, we had a fan catch during this scene at reception from Ursula N. in Toledo, Ohio, who said, at 2 minutes and 33 seconds, there is a card on Erin's desk. Is that card the one where Michael photoshopped himself into Carol's family ski trip back in season 3? Because it looks just like it. I zoomed in on it. It absolutely looks like it. I think it is. I think Michael is still setting that card out. That is brilliant and perfect. I also caught a card taped to the front of reception, and it was a Christmas card that me and Brian and Oscar made and gave to everyone. Oh my gosh! I remember
you guys used to do an accountant's card at Christmas? Yes, we'd make them take a picture with me in character, and we would give it to everyone. Well, Andy has a talking head where he begged Dwight and Jim to give him Aaron for Secret Santa, and he's the one who's giving out the 12 days of Christmas gifts. And he says, is it his fault that the first 8 days amount to 30 birds? And during this talking head, you can see him trying to put little bow ties on some swans. You see Erin go to her car, and it's filled with geese. I asked Randy Cordray, how did we pull off these shots with the geese and the swans? He said, once again, we used Bob Dunn's Animal Rentals in Silmar, California. We needed 7 swans in the lobby, and they required 3 days of prep and rehearsal. He said swans can be very aggressive toward people that they don't know. Oh, yeah. So the extra days of prep were to just let them walk around this lobby area and meet Ed Helms. And lady, I remember one day at lunch, Ed was eating like really fast. And he said he had to finish eating quickly because he had to go spend time with the swans. Oh my gosh, I don't doubt it. They had to get to know him. I was once chased by a very aggressive duck. In Indonesia, they would use like ducks and stuff to protect like a guard duck. Yeah, like a guard duck. And I was on a walk up in the mountain, and I was like probably like 11, and this duck like chased me. I was terrified. I was like, oh my god, they're scary. Yeah, I mean, they'll come for you. They'll come for you. Well, the 6 geese that were in Aaron's car also had to do 3 days of prep. We had 3 trainers each day to wrangle all the birds. They created a fenced-in area in our warehouse. That's where they would stay. It was very cool and dark. I guess they like that. Randy said that the total cost for the 4 days of birds and trainers was $9,603. Now, we also got a fan question from Liam D. in Ireland, who said he loves the storyline where Andy gives Aaron the 12 days of Christmas. And he said, did you know that in 1982, there was a record by an Irish actor and comedian named Frank Kelly called Christmas Countdown, where he recalls all of the gifts in the 12 Days of Christmas song. It's basically the same idea. Someone is sending them gifts for the 12 Days of Christmas. It ends up just as bad for him as it did for Aaron. He said this song was a chart hit in Ireland, Australia, and the UK. I have an audio clip. Oh, I want to hear it.
Jason, nowhere. We are not amused by your little joke. 7 swans a-swimming is a most romantic idea, but not in the bath of a private house. We cannot use the bathroom now because they have gone completely savage and rush the door every time we try to enter. If things go on this way, the mother and I will smell as bad as the living room carpet. Please lay off. It is not fair.
Okay, so he's so right though. But he said they've gone completely savage. I know. So it's just very funny. He's just earnestly writing these letters to Nora to like, please stop after every gift. They did enjoy the 5 golden rings. He was like, okay, that was a nice touch, but otherwise the birds are destroying this house. That is so fun. I want to hear the whole thing. Well, maybe we could put a link. I found it on YouTube. Yeah. We'll put it in story. Yeah. Now we have maybe one of the sweetest Phyllis talking heads. She's in full Santa outfit, and she tears up. She says it's been a long journey, but she's finally Santa Claus. I was so moved by this. I know. This is Phyllis at her best. She does this thing where she so deeply and realistically commits and earnest from the heart. Yes. And it just becomes something deeper than comedic. I love it. And then right after, Creed's like, what if you've been really bad, like bordering on evil? Like, yeah, what happened, Santa? Well, we also get a little peek into Dwight's secret Santa gift. Someone has been sending him different pieces of a machine, and he has been trying to put them together. This is so perfect for Dwight. Like, talk about someone knowing Dwight and, like, giving him the perfect gift. Yes. Well, we get to see Pam with her famous lasagna, which is, you know, she just makes it from the box, Jenna. I know. I mean, people ask her, where did she get this recipe? It's from the box. She is just prattling on, and Oscar's not paying attention. He's looking out the window at warehouse fella throwing the football. Pam clocks this
and this is going to start her into matchmaker mode. I wanted to share 2 things about this scene, Angela. Number 1, I can make lasagna from memory.
So can I.
And my family uses cottage cheese instead of ricotta cheese. It is, I don't know, maybe a Missouri thing. It's definitely a my family thing. It's so good. It's a milder cheese, especially for kids.
Yeah.
You know? I can layer it up. This was one of my 3 big meals that I learned how to make before I went off to college.
We must have been in the same sort of mindset because I was like, oh, lasagna, I can eat off that for days. I'll learn how to make it.
Anytime I had anyone over for dinner,
Lasagna.
we make a lasagna. The other thing I want to share is that I am wearing Belly Bump D.
Oh.
I have not talked about my belly bump in a while. I forgot to point out that in shareholder meeting and Scott's Tots, I was in Belly Bump C. And so now for this episode, I'm already in Belly D. But here's the thing. According to the belly tracker, the banker, which is our next episode, was actually shot before Scott's Tots.
Do you go down a size?
I think I do, because according to the tracker, the banker is belly C. So let's see. Next week, my belly might get smaller for a second.
Well, Michael is going to arrive dressed as Santa. And Pam says we already have a Santa.
Michael is so upset that Jim let Phyllis take over as Santa.
Yeah, he says a woman.
Where does it stop?
Yeah.
That was very.
You can't believe
Yeah.
it. But Jim will not budge. And then Michael says, you have to tell her she can't be Santa. Jim's like, I won't do that. He says, just do it anonymously. You can send her like a note, like ransom style, with letters cut out. I have some in my drawer.
How many ransom notes is he sending to people?
Well, you know, nowadays, you can just download a font for your computer. Ransom note font style.
Yeah, Michael, you don't have to go cut all the letters out and put them in your drawer.
But we know he's not using his computer much. We've established that.
No, it's just a place to put Post-its.
As anyone
Well, Jenna, this starts a whole segment I'm calling Dueling Santas.
One of the best segments of all time.
Of all time. Phyllis has a Santa photo op.
Again, amazing setup by Jim and Dwight.
I know. She's got the chair and the backdrop, the whole thing. Everyone is going to take their picture with Santa. Well, Michael's ticked off. He wants his own Santa photo op.
Yeah, so he's going to set himself up in a chair right there across from reception.
Yeah.
Who wants to sit on his lap? Someone come sit on his lap.
Well, I guess the first person to sit on Michael's lap is going to be Kevin.
He's so excited. Kevin says he's never been able to do this before.
Yeah. So Kevin sits on Michael's lap. Michael's like, oh, what would you like for Christmas, little boy? And Kevin's like, I don't know. I didn't know you were going to ask me that. And Michael's like, what did you think was going to happen? And Kevin's like, I don't know. No one's ever let me sit on their lap before. Michael's really struggling now. He's like, just tell me what toys you want. And Kevin's taken a long time to think about it.
Clearly, Michael is uncomfortable.
Yes.
I found a quote from an Entertainment Weekly article from Mindy where she says, quote, when Kevin unburdens himself
Every
on
day out
Michael's
here
lap,
starts with me
Steve's
barking
voice
enough.
changed to this distressed, guttural mumble, showing the instantaneous agony he was in. This was literally a laugh out loud moment because you can see me laughing in the background, completely breaking character. And then we got a fan question from Rabbi V in South Korea, who said, at 7 minutes 56 seconds, if you pause, you can clearly see Ed Helms and Mindy Kaling breaking so hard. A few
And
seconds
then
later,
every day out here
Novak
starts
started
to
to
be
break.
barking another
They
Rabbi
were all
Rothschild.
laughing so hard, Ed needed to hide from the camera. Will you guys please share your stories about
Oh,
this
that
scene?
is so funny.
Jenna and Angela, were you also laughing during this
Yoshi.
scene?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Robbie.
Yoshi.
Robbie, I would say overwhelmingly, this was one time where the entire cast broke. The entire cast. I've read so many interviews in prepping for this episode where John, Ed, and Brian all talk about how they were all breaking. I read where Veda, our script supervisor, said how she would have to mark whenever someone laughed in a take, and it was like everyone.
They didn't have any footage of us not laughing.
None of
They
it.
didn't have any. We never got it. That's why all the footage shows us breaking the
Rabbi
background.
That's exactly right. On the commentary,
That's
Claire
sick.
Scanlon, who was our editor, talked about how difficult it was to edit this scene because someone was constantly laughing. And if you watch, you guys all see Mindy break, Ed literally had to go behind the wall. Yeah, there was like a plant and a wall, and you watch him go and hide. There are a lot of bloopers from this, and you guys, I just felt like we had to hear them.
Oh my gosh, this is going to take me back.
I can sit on your lap.
You can sit on my lap all you want, because I am a male Santa, and that is something that Phyllis cannot do. Oh my God.
Okay, this is really comfortable.
Tell me what you want, little boy.
I didn't know you were going to ask me that.
What did you think was going to happen?
I didn't know. No one's ever let me sit on their lap before.
Hurry up, just say some toys.
Election offices.
Can you give me some choices?
Oh my God, Kevin, please.
John dives out of frame, like we're all losing it.
You notice in those scenes, there are no like cutaways to the reverse. There are no reaction shots.
No,
There were the people who were like stationed behind this action, and they had to try to hold it together. The rest of us, we were all there. We're all watching. You don't see us because we couldn't ever act.
No, we were just all laughing. That like took me back watching it and reading everyone's like stories from that day. It was so much fun.
Well, Phyllis is mad. She demands that Jim take care of this double Santa situation. Otherwise, she's going to have to get Bob involved.
Yeah.
And Jim is like, what? And then she goes, never mind, I shouldn't have said that. My God.
What is Bob up to?
I don't know.
Aaron is going to jokingly ask Andy if he's her secret Santa.
And he jokingly admits that he is.
Yeah.
This is very similar to what happened in Murder, right? Where they're jokingly asking each other on a date. This is a downfall of their relationship.
Where they don't just come out
No
and
one's
say what
just
they're thinking.
straight up.
Right.
I don't know if you noticed, but at 7 minutes, 15 seconds, the golf picture is still on the wall.
I did notice.
I'll have you know, the week that we shot Secret Santa is the same week that Mafia aired. So now that Mafia has aired, we have 100% committed to cutting out the storyline where Aaron destroys the watercolor. I'm telling you, that is how last minute that decision was, how long that fight was.
Could you imagine if the show ended and it was just a golf picture there?
I cannot.
And we just walk out and the last shot is a golf picture?
No.
No.
Tragedy.
Tragedy!
Hope in a frame.
Hope in a frame, people. Well, Oscar's going to go down to the warehouse to hand out everyone's paychecks.
What up,
There was a
motherfucker?
really
What?
fun scene in the shooting draft that didn't make it in, where Oscar goes to Angela. She's about to go hand out the paychecks. That's who hands them out.
I remember that.
Yeah, and Oscar's like, oh, wait, Angela,
Rabbi
you know what?
is
I'll go hand them
dangerous.
out.
Yeah,
She's
you
like,
can
why?
see he's
He's
causing.
like, and it's like Oscar knows her so well. He's like, it's cold down there. And so he lists all these things. And she's like, okay, fine. And lets him go hand out the checks. But he's looking for Matt.
But Matt's not there. He's out on a delivery. And
What's this
Daryl's like,
website?
I'll take it. I'll give it to him.
TopRevenueGate.com. That would be
And
great. That'd
Oscar's
be
like,
huge.
no, no, I
Look
can,
at my
I
arm.
can wait.
Yeah.
Daryl's on to
That is
him.
sick.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever done something like this?
Of course. We all have.
I remember when I was like
You're
younger,
talking
like a
this
kid,
outbreak is
I had a little bit of
multiplied.
a crush on one of the boys in my neighborhood.
Has
And
been
I
100
used to
plus.
look out the window. And when I would see him outside, like playing soccer or something, I would conveniently need to go to the mailbox.
Yeah.
Hoping that he would like wave at me or something, that we could have a run in. It never happened.
I mean, in college, I watched Bassmasters because the guy I liked was really into watching Bassmasters, watching people fish and talk about the hooks they used and the lures and the whatnot. These are the things you do.
Yeah, when you have a crush.
Yeah. When all of a sudden this guy is like, I think on Sunday I'm going to watch Bassmasters. I'm like, oh yeah, it's so great. That guy, the host, he's hilarious.
And then you're like, who is the host? There is no host of Bassmasters.
What is Bassmasters?
And you couldn't Google back then because it was just invented.
I know.
Yeah.
It wasn't invented yet. There was no internet.
I will never let that one go.
I know, it's too fun.
Clearly.
It's too fun.
It's one of my favorite bits now. Well, Michael is still sitting
What's this
in
motherfucker
the
say?
chair
No
upstairs
boast
trying
but
to get
Jesus?
people to sit
West
on his
side,
lap.
but
He's
Rabbi,
now,
how about
like,
that?
wrestling Ryan onto his lap while saying, I need this, I need this.
Claire and Mindy also talked in the commentary that when Jim
Steve-O
steps
is my
in and is like,
neighbor.
hey, Michael, you can't, you can't grab
These
someone in the
rabbis
office
are
and say, I need this.
these
While forcing
rabbis
them
are
onto your
taking
lap. It
over.
makes me laugh out loud every
I
time
have a
John's
public
delivery is so
service
good.
announcement.
They shared on the commentary that he kept laughing in so many takes.
That's
the
what
thing,
you
like,
fucking
when
think.
you know something is
I love it.
funny,
I'm the
even though
one
you have
thing
to
that
deliver
both
it,
sides of the aisle on which
while
they
you're
can
doing
agree.
it.
I'm annoying as
This scene
fuck.
is going to end with Michael putting his Santa hat into the stretch bowl and storming out. So rude. Mindy talked
Oh,
about
it's so
something in
funny.
the commentary I thought was really interesting.
Geez,
She said at 8 minutes 39 seconds, when Michael makes his big announcement that he wants a vote on who is the true Santa,
I love
Mindy
you.
said,
I love
and I'm
you,
quoting
Jay.
her,
I don't
one of the
count
great
it, but that's a
legacies
lot.
of the show is
West
the
side.
announcements
Damn.
outside of Michael's
Damn,
office. She goes on to say, I used to
I
call
saw
it
hundreds of
back break
viral rabbis
alley.
report
The
about
writers would have
for the
Michael
crowd.
come
I
out of
did
his
find
office,
that he was not
make an
his
announcement,
usual
and that would
accounts.
often
This
lead
man
to the act
has
break.
to go to work
And
at
that's
a call
exactly what
center.
happens here.
They have
It's
all
true.
these different phone
So
numbers
you
to
got a
open
little
these
act
accounts. I
break
don't know.
alley there.
Below he's
Dwight is convinced that his secret
this
Santa
man
is
has
his
to
own
work
gun.
at a call
But this
center.
last piece doesn't make any sense. Why did they send him a
This
dial?
is so
They should have sent him
funny.
a trigger. And Meredith
By
is still
the
like,
way,
why
by
do
the
you
way,
need
he's
a
a
gun?
blind man.
And
This
then
man
Stanley has
must
a great line where he
this
says,
man
unless the
there's
missing
a
piece is a
couple
gun,
this man has got to work at a
I don't know why that tickled me so much. His delivery was so good. We got a fan question from Beth
It's
C. in Olympia,
2012.
Washington, who came
West
up with the list of Dwight's speculations on what his Christmas present might
Look,
be as he builds it.
I just want to tell you
He
about
has that piece of
please
paper
shoot
with
me.
the list. And Beth said,
Not
I
gonna
never
worry about
noticed
it.
that
You're going
speculum
to
was on the
nail.
list, but during a recent rewatch, I noticed and almost died laughing. So I found the list of all the things that Dwight thinks. This is what's on his piece of paper.
Okay.
In answer to your question, Beth, this would be the writers. The writers would have come up with this list. Phil Shea would have gone to the writers and said, what do you want me to write on this piece of paper for Dwight?
Right.
And he would have had to write this list over and over and over and over again on various pads of paper because every take, Rain was going to scratch one out. So here was the list of things that Dwight thought this might be. An aardvark trap, beaver trap, gun, chipmunk trap, possum trap, skunk trap, lobster trap, man trap, lathe, abdominizer,
How many rabbit
He was
Rothschilds are
mostly
there?
convinced it was some sort of trap, an animal
Every
trap.
day I'd hear it.
Santa
me
Philip
back.
is now going to do the tree lighting reveal, and it's
So
festive and
sick.
cheery.
I love Phyllis
So
in this scene.
sick.
I
Well, maybe
know.
it's the
I absolutely
sickest
love it.
performance
Michael is starting to get real
every
sour.
day I'd hear.
Oh, yeah.
Involves me fucking
So he
up.
has this
Rabbi
talking
Rothschild.
head where he says, I don't need a lot for Christmas, like diamonds or brooch pendants. He just wants to be Santa.
Bottler.
And this whole
Baby,
time,
I'm real love
he
in the
is
flesh.
like reversing his Santa
I love
costume,
you. I love
taking
your
this
dog.
decorative Christmas robe off
Hey,
his
you're
credenza,
doing this
making it
little
into a belt.
baby.
I
Little
want to give a shout
baby
out to Steve's
face.
skills right here.
I
Little
put it
baby
in my
face.
document. I need everyone to appreciate how hard this is to do.
Yes, I
Little
wrote it
baby
too. I put two little
face.
stars by it. I said, go
Little
to 9 minutes,
baby
52 seconds.
face.
Michael goes from Santa to Jesus, and Steve had to do all the dialogue, change his outfit, put the belt on in one shot. There are no cutaways.
This is truly amazing. I cannot express to you how hard it is to do even ordinary business while you're acting. How many times would I have to do a scene where I'm supposed to walk in with a bag of groceries, set it down, and take some items out of the bag? Suddenly, I am incapable of doing that action. I
Who the hell
multitask in
is
my
this twit
kitchen
Rabbi
constantly.
Rothschild?
And I'm always
I'd
thinking about
back.
it too. Like as I'm like shutting the fridge with my foot while scrambling an egg and drinking coffee and like organizing some homework papers
Rabbi
in the morning
over Russell.
and holding a conversation. I think to myself, if this was written out for me, I could never do it. I don't know what it is. It's so hard
That's
just
what
to
it's
memorize
like,
your
dog.
lines and say them
Hell
truthfully.
yeah.
This amount of business is People should study it. He does such a good job.
Yeah.
And with comic timing.
I know. I always think of this when I would watch shows like ER or Grey's Anatomy, when they have the gurney flying through the hallway and they're yelling out all of this medical jargon, like, give me this, blah, 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 and they're like having to do all this action. I'm like, well, that'll be a job I never have, because yes, that's a lot of talking and moving at the same time. Yeah, I won't be able to do it.
Lots of business is hard to do.
Slots. Sometimes I say
Because then also
5-10
you have
slots.
to like match it.
Yeah, every time.
We were both very impressed.
We were also cast on the perfect show because we often didn't have to do a lot of business. We were just at our desks.
True. Michael returns to the bullpen now. He's Jesus Christ.
Angela applauds. She's the only one applauding.
I mean, finally, as far as she's concerned.
Right, finally, we have a real Christmas party. I went to the script to see if me applauding
Is
was
it called
written
the
in the
ViralRabbi?
script. It was. It says
Latest.
Angela clapped.
Just as
Well, lady, I
irritating.
think we should take a break. But before we do, I just want to quickly bring up this moment in the break room where Andy has asked Phyllis, please do not tell Aaron
What is
I'm
up
her
with this
secret Santa.
fucking rabbit?
And she says, okay, I won't.
I'll say it's Michael.
What is
Andy's
up
like,
with this
great.
fucking rabbit?
Phyllis
Bog.
threw Michael under the bus.
She's like, I'm going for it. Well, listen, he deserves it.
I
Bog.
know,
These
I
are
know,
all
I know.
Here's maybe 100
All right,
plus.
we'll take a break and be right back.
Elon, help me understand how why one person can have over 20 plus accounts and be able to track accounts, create lists, and track others. ViralRabbi is dangerously confused. Causing
Cut out. Really? Oh, yeah.
I love
And
it.
while they're singing,
78 people retweeted this.
if he's talked to Matt.
78 people.
She is going into full matchmaker mode, and she's just gonna talk
Yeah,
about Oscar's pate. How many times do I say pate?
78
So
people.
awkward. It's so cringy. Pam is just so
Question.
delighted
Yeah,
to be a
mine.
matchmaker.
I know, it was really fun to play.
I
We had a
find out
fan question
20
from
of these
Robbie B
accounts
in South Korea,
on my
who
account.
played Matt
Has
from the
been
warehouse.
going well.
Guys, Matt was played by
Gonna
Sam
attack these
Daly.
people.
In
I'm
addition
gonna
to The
fucking
Office, Sam
attack
has
you like
appeared
this
on such
goddamn
shows
Pearl
as The
Harbor, and
Magicians,
it's December
NCIS,
7th.
Heart of
19.
Dixie, and
Goddamn
in recurring
fucking
roles
40
on Madam
minutes.
Secretary
Here you go,
and
little shit.
Undercovers,
Eat my
and most
fucking
recently
weight.
on Bull. He is also the son
Eat
of
my
actor
weight,
Tim
biatch.
Daly.
Oh my God, I was so excited when he was on set
Latest.
because I loved Wings.
Loved Wings.
I watched
Love
every
Wings.
episode. I even went to a taping, you guys.
You did?
Yes, I came out to LA to visit like years before I lived here,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to a taping of Wings.
I did
Love
that same thing
Wings.
too. I came out. It was like a special workshop for people who were interested in the biz. It was through UCLA, I think, because we stayed on the campus and they took us all around. And one of the things we got to do was go to a live television taping. I was fascinated.
I loved it. I was coming out to visit my
Rabbi
friend's
Rothschild.
brother was going to college
Oh,
here.
Rabbi
And we came
Rothschild.
and visited him, and he
How
took
many
us to a
Rabbi
live taping.
Rothschilds are there?
Christopher
I don't
Bernard,
know.
during
That's
an act
fucking
break,
great
you know, because
question.
it was
I
like
don't
a
even know.
four-camera
Really?
show where you're in an
Every day.
audience,
This will
and
make
they
you
would
like
have like
every
breaks.
day.
She came up
Here's
with her
starts
guitar
me
and sang a
bugging
whole song,
another
and she
Rabbi.
was such a good singer.
That is so sweet. You know, that's a nice cast.
Yeah.
When I did my taping of that 70s show, the entire cast, after the show was over, went out to the audience and signed autographs. And I mean, this was like year 6 or something. I was so impressed.
Well, we were very excited to have Sam on set.
We were. Sam did an interview with bleepmag.com. Angela,
Battler.
thank you for forwarding me
You
this.
just made
They
yourself
asked
retarded,
him
bro.
if he gets recognized
I'm gonna
for being
abuse your
Matt
womb,
on our
brother.
show. And he said yes. 9 times out of
The
10,
earth
if he
and I'm
gets
a
recognized,
carpet
it's for
bomb.
having
Ba, 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 ba,
been
ba, ba,
on
ba,
The
ba, ba, ba.
Office. He also said, quote, it was the first show I'd seen every episode of when I went to work on it. I knew where to go in the office and who sat where and everything. It was such an incredible experience. It was supposed to be a tiny role, but it turned into a recurring guest spot for a few episodes. I'll never take that for granted, and being around all those other actors was a
bombing
blessing.
your womb,
Sam,
girl.
you were a blessing.
You were so delightful.
And he is going to be in 2 more episodes. We just really liked him so much.
Well, Jen, I have 2 things to share about this scene. So we see Matt from the warehouse upstairs. Did you notice the other warehouse workers?
Yes, I noticed
Who
Madge and
the
all the guys
hell
are at this
is
party.
this twit, Rabbi
Well, there was a
Rothschild?
whole runner that was
This
cut from the
motherfucker's
episode.
sick.
It
The
is in the
sunshine
extended
state.
producer's cut,
West
where Michael
side.
goes down to the warehouse and invites all of them up to the party. It does not go over well. Why? Jim is annoyed because he did not plan to feed that many people.
Oh,
I thought it was really cute because he was all of a sudden concerned about food. The rest of the office is grumpy because the warehouse workers start eating everything, kind of take over.
Later.
Angela has a talking head where she says she can hardly pretend to like the people in the actual office, let alone all the extra people
These
now.
people have to be like,
There is a
what
scene
the
in the
fuck?
conference room where
Who
we learn
is
that
this? I
Madge
would
has
just
a
be like,
nickname,
who are you?
Garfield.
What is this?
Oh, because she
What
loves
is this?
lasagna?
And
Because she loves
what-
lasagna, and when she sees it, she
What
has to
is
eat it
this?
all. This results
Who
in
are
a
you?
scene where she eats the
Bitch.
entire lasagna that Pam
I'm your
brought
worst
while
fucking
the
nightmare,
warehouse
you
guys are
goddamn
chanting,
cunt.
Garfield, Garfield, Garfield.
You don't know what this fucking anti-Semitic
Yes, there were
neo-Nazi
so
cunt
many
is supposed to be
extra
doing
scenes of the
downstairs. Go
warehouse
fuck
people
yourself.
driving everyone full crazy. The second thing I want to
Sorry.
share is on the commentary.
Thank you
Mindy and
for
Ellie talked about how when they met Sam Daly, who played Matt, they got so
You know
tickled
you're
because they
just
thought
making fun of
Sam and Ellie looked a lot
Are you
alike
dumb?
in
Not
real
fun
life.
shit. I just missed
like they could be brother and sister.
Yes, so I did a side by side and I want to show you. All right, Jenna, look at this. I'll put it in stories. I see it.
Oh my gosh. They definitely could be family.
I know.
We
So I guess this is something Ellie was tickled about. Ellie and Mindy
I
during the
got
week
my
of filming.
sister with me.
Michael is very cranky. He has like sat down kind of in the very middle of the party with a microphone.
Yes, anyone
And
got
he
a dog?
is
Please tell me.
narrating
Oh,
the
but
gifts
we back.
that are
I love
being
your
handed
dog
out.
though. All
Yeah,
these
he's
people
doing,
have
like,
the same kind of
snarky
dog.
commentary.
Yeah. Angela gets some fabric, some gray fabric. She is so touched.
What would you used to say?
This person really knew her well. Michael says now she can make another dress that goes past her feet. It is also during this snarky commentary that Michael reveals that Andy is Aaron's secret Santa.
I got all my
man.
brothers with me.
Aaron does not look happy. Michael continues to spiral, so he calls David
Who
Wallace.
is this Rabbi
And he has one of my
Rothschild?
favorite lines. He says a
Who
woman
is
has
this
used
Rabbi
slurped
Rothschild? Somebody's
his
got to say
role
it.
as Santa.
Is anybody
That's
else
right.
getting followed by?
He also says,
Is
"Guess who I'm
anybody
dressed
else
as?"
getting followed by
And I love
like
David Wallace's
50
response
viral rabbis
because
today?
he says,
That's
either you
so
tell me or
funny.
I'm hanging up.
That shit
Like,
is
I'm
so funny.
I'm not
Is
guessing.
anybody
doing
else
this
getting
now.
followed
Well,
by
David said this is a
50
really bad
Rabbi
time and asked for
Rothschild today?
Stephanie, his assistant, to step off.
Yes. And then Aaron also needs to get off the phone.
Michael's like, have they always been here?
Look at this athleticism.
David tells Michael that the company has a buyer and he and Alan are out of work. Like, just, you know what? Everyone's going to be gone.
Everyone.
Michael hears that. Oh my gosh.
He said, you know what? Earlier today, the office needed Santa. Then they needed another Santa. Then they needed Jesus. And now they need Michael. And that's one suit Phyllis can't fit into.
At 14 minutes, 38 seconds, I'd like to point out a snow alert. There is now.
Do we have a snow alert?
We have a snow alert. There is some snow falling gently behind Michael out his window. It's evening now, and it's begun snowing. This will be important later.
Well, the way you solve any crisis is you buy pizza, lots of it. Michael's gonna send Dwight with his password. You know, you have fun at the
Yeah, so his PIN is 9622. That is YMCA. The candy bag had some really fun alternates for what Michael's PIN number might be.
Oh, yeah?
Here's the first one. I don't want to say it, but it's the year everyone was scared by Y2K. Here's another one. I don't want to say it, but it's the year we partied like it's 1999. Here's another one. I don't want to say it, but it's the first line in a famous song about the alphabet.
Yeah, all right, let's go with
And then this was my favorite. When Dwight says, "What is your PIN?" Michael was going to say 938-562-087716689473. This was going to be like this ridiculously long number. Those were all of our candy bag must shoot alternates for this. And we stayed with the shooting draft scripted YMCA. Aaron's going to ask Andy, what was he thinking giving her all of those gifts? But you know what? Andy's not going to give up. He's not going to throw in the towel. Not going to happen. No, he's not. And later on, I'm glad he didn't. Michael addresses the group. He's got the pizza. It's sitting there. I think we'd all like to eat it, but of course, Michael has to give a big speech first. And then he does what only Michael can do, which is he tells everybody the news that he was supposed to keep to himself, which is that we're going out of business. Well, everyone has a pretty strong reaction to this news. Dwight goes out and kicks the Christmas tree down. Yeah. Ellie and Mindy shared on the commentary that the day we shot this scene when Dwight's kicking the tree down, the episode Niagara was airing that evening. And everyone wanted to wrap so we could get to Greg's to watch Niagara. I guess Greg had invited the whole cast over for a viewing party. So I dug in my digital clutter and I found the email invite. Oh my gosh, I totally remember this viewing party, by the way. Yeah. He says, "Hey guys, please come to my house for a viewing party for Niagara at 7:30 October 8th. Dinner, and we will watch Jim and Pam get married. Love, Greg." Well, he and his wife Suzanne threw this party that was almost like a wedding reception. They had little M&Ms printed with Jim and Pam and little napkins like you would get at a wedding. Yes, it was so sweet. They had amazing food. It was really fun. The tables had, you know, the little confetti you can sprinkle that had the little wedding bells. It was so cute. I totally remember going to that. I went with Lee. So just know, while we were filming this conference room scene of Michael spilling the beans and Dwight kicking the tree, we were like, all right, let's get these lines so we can make it to Greg's. Greg and Suzanne were always so generous. They invited us into their home many, many times over these 9 years of doing The Office. It was a really warm and personal touch, and it bonded us from the beginning. It was really cool. And they still are. Greg invited us all over for Sunday brunch, and we all went. We did, just recently. Well, Michael tells everyone, listen, I'll get David on the phone so he can explain things. And Jim's like, I don't think so, Michael. I've been trying to reach him all day, and he's not taking my calls. And Michael is like, I know how to get a hold of him. He's proud of this. It's amazing. He knows where David's kids go to school. So first he calls the school, pretends to be their pediatrician. Then he gets patched through to David's secretary, and then he talks in his little girl voice and pretends to be David's daughter. So, of course, when David answers the phone, he's like, "What's up, sweetie?" Because David thinks it's his daughter who's at the pediatrician's office. Oh my God, Michael. I mean, it's kind of amazing. In Michael's office, we have, for the first time, the whole entire Dunder Mifflin bullpen and warehouse. Yes, all of us hovering over the speakerphone. David reveals, Michael, first of all, you were never supposed to tell everybody, but second of all, I wasn't talking about you. All of your jobs are safe. It's just this upper management. You would have thought The Office won the Super Bowl. I know. Everyone goes nuts. Michael jumps off his desk and does this crowd surfing move. Mindy shared on the commentary that that was Steve's idea, that he thought it would be really fun if Michael dove into the crowd. We had a fan question from Kyle T. in Houston, Texas, who said, did y'all have a safety meeting for Michael's crowd dive? By the way, I want you to know, Kyle wrote y'all. Of course he did. Kyle from Texas. That's right, from Houston. H-Town. Did y'all have a safety meeting for Michael's crowd dive? I appreciated that detail, by the way. We did have a safety meeting. Eric Solke was our stunt coordinator. And Randy Cordray told us that he gave everyone direction on how to catch Steve's dive and how to lower him down to the ground safely. We also dressed 2 stunt players as warehouse workers and added them into the crowd. Randy said these burly stunt dudes were the main individuals involved in catching and protecting Steve and keeping him from crashing to the floor.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
It wasn't
up
like,
against
no, me and Kate and you
force?
holding Steve
He
up.
on that
Correct.
fucking fork, kid. He
Now,
on that
folks,
fucking fork,
it's
kid.
time for
Calm
some
down,
karaoke.
He on that fucking fork, kid.
This is where
Lady,
Dwight
please,
is singing
kid.
Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day.
Come on.
Andy joins in some perfect harmony. Boulevard of Broken Dreams is from Green Day's 2004 album American Idiot. So something that I know, because I'm friends with Billy Joe Armstrong, I cannot say it enough.
She's blushing.
I'm
again.
just so tickled every time I can say that. Is that Billy had seen The Office, but he recently, in 2019, did a big rewatch of the whole series.
Oh, nice.
And I asked him, when you did your rewatch, did you remember that you had given us permission to use this song? Here's what he had to say.
I was binge watching The Office for the first time, and I was watching that episode, and then all of a sudden the song came on, and I was completely taken by surprise. And like, I think my face started to get red, and then Andy, he started singing harmonies, which was almost like because we do have a musical for American Idiot, and he sang the same exact harmony that's in the musical. So it was good.
Well, I just love it that he was surprised by his own song during that rewatch.
I know, that's so sweet.
Listen, I think we need to hear this. I think we need to hear Dwight and Andy singing Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Oh, for sure.
West Side Gangster, West Side Gangster, West, yes, West, West, West Gangster, Gangster, West, West, Western Gangster. Yoshi, where's this monkey? Yoshi, where's the monkey? Yoshi, where's the monkey? I don't hot dog. My shadow, only wanna walk beside me. My shadow.
I love it. I love hearing them. I could hear them do it like every day. It would make me happy singing that song. Mandy shared in the commentary that she absolutely loved this montage of Christmas kind of all coming together, set to the backdrop of a non-Christmas song. Yes. And Jenna, I guess there was a musical interlude to the karaoke, and Ed and Rain had to vamp during it. It's so funny. It's in the extended producer's cut. We have to hear their vamp.
Wicked.
I mean, I know they already produced the musical version of American Idiot, but I'm saying if you bring it back to the stage, you might want to add this.
Ed and Rain.
You might want to. It'd be pretty great.
We've all been there. We've all picked a song for karaoke, and then there's a big musical interlude. And you're like, what do I do?
Remember when this was not going, and then it was like, hey everybody, want to get followed on the Twitter? Hey everybody, want to get followed on the Twitter? What did this person say? Added you X. I don't do much on. Thank you. I'll just say thanks. THX. Dude, THX. Thanks, baby. Thanks, BB. Thanks, BB. But I'll check you out. I don't do much on there. Added you X. Is it added you on X? Because if it is, so sick.
But I'm saying if you bring it back to the stage, you might want to add this.
Ed and Rain.
You might want to. I mean, pretty great.
We've all been there. We've all picked a song for karaoke, and then there's a big musical interlude. You're like, what do I do? Yes, kind of bob in my head. I mean, Ed crushed it.
Will
Well,
Black.
there are just a bunch of scenes now of people enjoying Christmas. Everyone's getting gifts that are really meaningful to them. And finally,
Zelda,
Dwight is going to get the
you're
last piece
getting
of
it.
his gift and
Hook a
realizes
brother
this
up,
whole time
Zelda.
he's been making a nutcracker.
Yes, of course. It's like a really cool nutcracker.
We had a fan question from Lacey L. in Grand Prairie, Texas.
And the West
Please,
Side
please
Gangsta.
tell me about Dwight's nutcracker. Who came up with it? Where did they find it? Or did they have to create it? I have been looking for it for years.
Lacey, I thought the same thing. I thought, can I get one of these? Well, Randy told me
Nutcrackers
that
with
this
them
was
huge
not in the first shooting draft of the
dress
script. This whole runner was added later, and he believes that it was the master of the cold opens, Aaron Schur, who wrote this story arc, because Aaron became the point person that they went to discuss the creation of this prop. Randy said when he and Phil first read this story arc, they assumed that this contraption was something the writers had seen on the internet somewhere, and they wanted to know where do they buy it. It turns out, Ange, it did not exist anywhere.
They made it up?
Yeah, they made it up. I even went to the rewrite of the script, and there is no scripted description of this machine. So Phil needed to conceptualize, design, and build a working nutcracker prop that looked like it could have been a gun, and he had less than a week to do it.
Phil Shea.
This is why he was always running, folks. Phil went to his go-to props manufacturing house, the Hand Prop Room. The team at that facility, Randy said, was understandably freaked out at the very short time span that they had to create this prop. They told Phil to tell Randy to open up the company checkbook. They were going to have to put a full team of engineers and builders basically around the clock to get this done in time. Randy said to their credit, they did a masterful job. All in, this prop cost about $19,000. Also, it was a one-off. He said, to the best of his knowledge, the NBC Universal marketing people never made replicas of this for online sales.
They should have.
They still can. I'm just saying, this would be a hot item at the holidays.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people would buy this?
I would.
I would too.
But do I have to put it together?
Oh, no. What if you do? That would be the ultimate.
I know.
You know, this story reminds me of something that I had a makeup artist tell me once. She said, there is a saying in this business. It's called fast, cheap, or good. And you can only have two of the three things. It can be fast and cheap, but it's not going to look good. It can be cheap and good, but it's not going to be fast. If you want it to be both fast and good, it's not going to be cheap. That was the case with our nutcracker. Fast and good. It was not going to be cheap. Nope.
Well, Jen and Mindy also spoke about this scene on the commentary, and she said it was a last-minute rewrite, that it was not in her original draft. She said it was written by Aaron Schur and Charlie Grandy. And Mindy said Phil Shea went above and beyond, especially because it was a last-minute prop gag. She also commented that it was a note from Greg to add a Dwight Michael storyline to this episode, and it pays off so nicely at the end. It's a moment of redemption for Michael.
Yes. Yeah, he knows Dwight so well.
Yeah,
it's a good note.
Yeah. Well,
3
the party
days.
is wrapping up. Everyone is leaving for the night. They're walking out into the parking lot. There's snow. It feels so Christmassy and festive.
That's right. You know, as you're walking out, Angela, I don't know if you noticed this, but we got a fan question from Kelsey D in Orlando, Florida. I noticed when everyone is leaving the office, Angela slipped, and Daryl is there to help her. Did Angela actually slip, or was that planned? Because I love that moment. It's so cute and sweet between Angela and Daryl.
Okay, Kelsey, I did actually trip. And I grabbed Craig's arm. So that quick moment you're seeing, that's us.
Aw,
we're not in character. And I think Rain must have seen it and improvised the line as Dwight, watch out, it's slippery out here. Because that line is not in the shooting draft. Me slipping and tripping is obviously not in the shooting draft. So Yes, that's just me and Craig, and thank goodness he was there, because I turned my ankle or something. Well, all of a sudden we hear something. It's drummers. It's 12 drummers drumming. This is Aaron's final Christmas present from Andy. Andy is on the cymbals. He starts dancing. It's so festive. We had a fan catch from Rachel I in Phoenix, Arizona, who said, there are only 11 people in the drum line. Was Andy meant to be the 12th person? Yes, Rachel, he was the 12th percussionist in this drum line. We also got a question from Maria S. in Austin, Texas, who asked, what was the process for choosing this group that played the 12 drummers drumming? And Emily B. from Torrance, California said, I want to give a shout out to the RCC Marching Tigers, who are the drum line featured in this episode. RCC has a fall marching band program and also a winter percussion program that is one of the best independent performance groups in the country. You can see more about them at RCC Drums on IG. She said, my husband is the battery captain head and arranger for the group, which means he writes the music and teaches the students how to play their instruments. So it is always so fun when I see RCC on a show. They've been on Parks and Rec too. Emily, thank you so much for sending that in. Randy confirmed that everything Emily said is correct. He said that he would always reach out to a woman named Christine Day. She is a music contractor, and she finds musical on-screen performers. Randy said there was just no one better than her. He actually said, quote, she is well known across the industry for her cheerful professionalism and ability to grasp the essence of a script and the showrunner's intent. All in, including Christine's fee, the marching band cost us $9,950.
Well, I will put the RCC Drums Instagram in our stories so you guys can see what they're up to. I loved learning all of that.
Well, we had so much fun on this night with this marching band. I'll never forget it. I mean, we got to stay late. We always love to stay late. We did it so rarely. And then we had snow.
We had snow with this like amazing drumming as a backdrop.
Incredible. I asked Randy if we used snow business again. And he said no, not this time. It was Ron Neri's group, ANA Special Effects in Van Nuys. He said, in order to get that snow in our parking lot, they had to call this place Union Ice in North Hollywood, and they brought 2 semi-tractor trailer rigs full of ice. 2.
Wow.
And then Ron's team put the ice through an industrial chipper, and it like shot it into the air. He said we shot that scene on a Friday night, and it had been 78 degrees that day. He said all of the snow effects for this episode, filling the parking lot as well as that little snowfall behind our windows, that cost $36,000 for snow.
For snow on a day where it was almost 80 degrees.
You know, it's always fascinating to me when Randy shares with us how much something costs in an episode, because it's like he had to budget all of that. Yeah, and the budget for each episode does not change week to week, but the demands change.
Yeah.
So he would have this elaborate spreadsheet, and he would have to figure out how to make all these little details happen. He needed to get the geese and the swans and the special props and the snow and the drum line and make it all cost the same as an episode that didn't even have all those things. Right. It's really fascinating to me. But you know I love a spreadsheet.
I know you do. Well, you know, Mindy was talking in the commentary about the scene about how hard Ed had to work as Andy doing the Running Man dancing with the cymbals, and we did a lot of takes, and she was like, do you guys remember he was like sweating?
He did such a good job.
I know.
Well, that is how the episode ends. However, we got a fan question from Katie G in Greenville, South Carolina. In the DVD commentary, Mindy teases that Greg had an alternate ending for this episode, but she was not going to tell us what it was. She kind of just says, you'll have to ask Greg.
Yeah.
What was the ending, Katie wants to know. Well, Katie, I heard this conversation too. It happens as the credits, are going at the end. And our editor, Claire Scanlon, jumps in and says she actually cut out the scene.
Well, listen, we wanted to get to the bottom of this. We wanted to mom detectives this and actually solve this one. Will we do it? I started by reaching out to Greg Daniels, and he did not remember.
I reached out to Claire Scanlon, who enlisted the help of Rob Burnett, the office writer's assistant. Rob went through his digital clutter and found a tag in a late rewrite of the script, and then Claire found the footage.
That's right. It is a scene where Pam sees Oscar and Matt walking away from the drumline group. They're going to go back inside. Pam follows them in, but then quickly comes back out of the building, and it is clear that she has seen them making out. So that was the surprise ending, that Matt and Oscar hook up at work. Now, this is very funny to me, Angela, because Pam has now caught Phyllis and Bob in the bathroom at lunch, and now she has caught Matt and Oscar in the hall closet. I mean, how many people are getting it on at work or during work hours?
Well, we haven't even brought up Kelly and Ryan. And then, of course, Dwight and Angela, don't get me started. But Pam and Jim had a pretty steamy kiss one time after hours.
Well, that's true. Well, later, it's sort of speculated that Jim and Pam make their second baby at work.
Oh, God.
It's on Valentine's Day.
Right. And then Michael and Holly are in the stairwell.
Yeah, they forgot to lock the door. That leads to the entire robbery of Crime Aid. I mean, this place is a hotbed of hookups.
A hotbed of hookups. Wait a second. Did mom detectives just solve one?
We solved one, and I feel very good about solving one.
I am so excited that we got to the bottom of that. Claire and Rob, thank you so much.
Yes.
They sent us this footage, you guys. It's pretty special. The cast ends up in a snowball fight once again.
Yeah.
It really brought me back. What an amazing time in our lives, Jenna.
Who's this
And how
Rabbi
lucky we get
Rothschild?
to
I love when
watch this together.
I love when
It's
people
bringing
say,
back
"Who
all
is
of
this
the
Rabbi
fun memories for
Rothschild?"
me. I just
Who's
love it.
this
I
Rabbi
love doing this
Rothschild? Is everybody
podcast
else
every
getting
week.
fouled by
And we love it when you guys reach out to us and tell us different things that mean something to you. It
Is
brightens our
anybody
whole
else
day.
getting
Well,
fouled?
thank you
He
for
must-
all of
he
your
must-
fan
he must-
questions.
he must
Just a
make a
reminder,
call.
you submit fan
Somebody
questions by
done
going to officeladies.com. We
Is that
have
your
a little
favorite one?
folder you can click
No,
on,
it's
and
most
you
like
can
one.
submit for any episode by folder.
Looks like
Jenna's very excited about the folders, guys.
I am.
Very excited. Thanks once again to Randy Cordray, Claire Scanlon, Rob Burnett, Greg Daniels, Joya Balfour,
And my friend, my personal friend, who
Are
I
you
can text anytime I want, lead singer of Green Day, Billy Joe Armstrong.
you guys have a great week.
Who is this? Anybody else getting fouled by this Rabbi
Thank you for listening to
Rothschild?
Office Ladies.
He's
Office
getting like
Ladies is
45
produced by
fouls
Earwolf,
from him.
Jenna Fisher, and Angela Kinsey.
Another day.
Our show is executive
Another
produced by Cody Fisher. Our producer is Cassie Jerkins. Our sound engineer is Sam Kiefer, and our associate producer is Ainsley Bubico.
Our theme song is Rubber Tree by Creed
Another
Bratton.
day on, yeah,
For
another
ad-free
day on.
versions of
Come on,
Office
Rabbi
Ladies, go to
Rothschild.
StitcherPremium.com.
Right?
For a free 1-month trial of Stitcher Premium, use code OFFICE.
I start to memorize people's fucking avatars. What? Yeah, what? Something else?
I wasn't even close. I was using numbers.
Most people give up on their resolutions by mid-January. Walmart Plus can help save yours this year by saving you time and money. Walmart Plus is the membership with benefits like gas discounts,
like this
video
one?
streaming, plus
I
so
think it's
much
fucking
more.
hilarious.
Is your resolution
Really?
to simplify your life?
It's the funniest fucking
Delivery,
thing.
Walmart Plus
I'll
makes
be like,
ordering
yo,
what you need
this
online
thing's
a
sick.
no-brainer.
Yo, she's like, oh, God,
Join
that's
now.
so
New members get 50.
Let's listen to this. 9 people have watched it.
Right before E. Oh,